Today's little fun story is about the time I tried to get a job in downtown LA at a restaurant that thought that they were too cool for everybody. And it's interesting. And this restaurant can go fuck itself. But here's the story. So I was applying for jobs in downtown LA. I had parked and I had walked around and applied and and all that stuff. And I came across a restaurant called The Palm. Maybe you've heard of it. There's one in New York apparently, and then I think there's one in Miami, but I'm not 100%, and then there's one in Los Angeles. And they really think highly of themselves, which is ridiculous because there's a lot of other restaurants out there that are very nice and don't treat people like this. So anyways, I went to go apply at The Palm, and I can't remember why. Okay, I had just applied, and so I had parked down the corner and I didn't pay for parking, and I had just applied, and then I applied and I got an interview. So I came back a couple days later for an interview, and I couldn't find a place to park that wasn't forever away, and because I was so new to the area, I didn't want to park too far and get lost and not make my interview time. So I parked in the parking lot next to the Palm, which was so expensive, and I don't know why, but it was $25 to park there. No, I think it was $50. It was $50 to park there. So $50 to park there for a stupid interview, and I was so frustrated, but I was like, whatever, I'm late, I'm just gonna do it. Instead of just being screw this, I'll find another place to get an interview at. I'm telling you, the way they do things out there is whack. It's really hard for somebody who doesn't live there to understand the concept. So I get there and I have an interview, and the interview goes great. And the guy tells me, because I think at the time, it might have still been August, September-ish. Yeah, it was definitely August-ish. So he had told me, hey, just a heads up, we're a restaurant that's busier in the slower months. We're not super busy in the summer, so a lot of people have different jobs in the summer. It's that's super weird. I've never worked at a restaurant where the summers have been so dead that you have to have another job just to survive. Which, I mean, you're in LA, so you need a job, 17 jobs to survive. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just needed a job at the time, so bad that it didn't matter, and the slow season was coming up. And so it's I'll be fine. I had a little bit of money saved up, I'll be okay. So everything's good. And then they were like, okay, just make sure that you get some slip resistant shoes and black pants for the first day. And they do a thing out there, and not every restaurant that I worked at in California, I did work at a few, not every restaurant I worked at did this, but there was this one and one other one that I had gotten an interview for did the same thing, and I did not go to the other one after they told me this. So some restaurants out there do this thing that's called a trial run, which totally should be illegal, by the way. So you come in on your first day after you've bought what they need for you to have for a uniform, which is, whether it's, obviously if you work in a restaurant, you need slip grip shoes, and then whatever type of pants they want you to wear, whether it's black slacks, blue jeans, whatever requirement is. So you gotta show up in that uniform, and then they do a trial run for a shift where they decide whether they like you and you like them and you're a good fit for each other, and then you go from there. What a waste of somebody's time. That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my life. And I do understand that it saves the company money, but that's rude. It's super rude. Anyways, so he tells me we'll do this trial run, and I'm like, okay, great. So I went to Ross to get the button-up shirt, and I already had the pants and I had the shoes because I've always had black slacks. That's just something in my closet. My card declined, and I'm like, why is my card declining? I should have a few $1,000s in my bank account because I had deposited this check before I moved out there, and I hadn't even touched it yet. I had been using cash and things like that for the first little while that I was out there. So I was really confused. I was like, what do you mean my card's declined? And I was super stressed out because I didn't know if I had enough gas to get out to the job and all this stuff, and how was I going to pay for parking, and it was super weird. And instead of just being you know what, maybe this is a sign that I just shouldn't go, or I should have just called the restaurant, my dumb ass goes anyways. I mean, I was a lot younger then, and sometimes I didn't make good decisions, like trying to move to LA. with the amount of money that I had on a serving job. Like, no. Anyways, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying have like 17 backup plans because that city will rock you. So I decide to drive out there, and it's like, I think it's like 20 miles away from where I'm at, because at the time I'm living a little further back, and because the plan was that me and a roommate were going to move closer to that city, and so it wasn't going to be like a big deal, which at the time I just didn't know traffic was so bad that you really just wanted to like work as close to the city that you were in as possible, because it could still take you an hour to go 7 miles depending on where you are in the state, you know. So I get out there and I'm on time, and I walk in and I walk to the host stand, and I'm wearing black slacks and my shoes and a top. And I walk up to the stand and I was like, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm here for like my first day. And the guy looks back at me, and he looks up and he looks down and he goes, oh. And he looks over to the other manager and he's like, well, I didn't tell you to come here for the interview. I know that I didn't. So he says to, hey, so-and-so, Ashley, your trainee is here. She's half naked, but she's here. And I was like, what? I was wearing this tank top. This is what I'm wearing, okay? I'm half naked in this. In August in Los Angeles, half naked. And so I was like so embarrassed, like I couldn't believe that that was just what they said to me. And when he said that, I said, I'm really sorry. I said, I'm not sure what happened. I have to call my bank as soon as I get a moment. For whatever reason, my card isn't working, and I don't know why, because I know I have like a few $1,000s in my account. And he says, well, maybe it sounds to me like your bank is questioning your credibility, and we should be questioning your credibility too. Who the fuck says that? Are you joking? I'm sorry. We're at a restaurant where the steaks are like $30, which, sure, that's expensive, but that's not like, stop it. We're not $150 plates, okay? Like, $30 to $40 per person is not that big of a deal in Los Angeles. Like, it's just not. We're not at a $100 plate restaurant. Like, take a seat, sir. So to say that to me, well, maybe we should be questioning your credibility because it clearly your bank is, was extremely rude. And I just was like, what? But at the time I didn't have any other job offers, so I kind of just let him talk to me like that. And I said, well, I don't know what you want me to do. And he's like, well, that's fine. I'll introduce you to everybody. We can take you in the back, and you can like learn about all the stuff in the back, and then we'll go from there. And I'm like, okay. So they had me kind of sort of train on the computer for a minute, and like I'm rolling silverware after that, and then I'm like looking at some of the food, but like they're keeping me out of the eyes of the customers because I'm naked. Naked. And so then after keeping me there for 3 hours, knowing what he was already going to say to me, he comes up to me and he goes, okay, well, that's all the training we can do for today because I can't have you on the floor. I can't have customers see you like this. And like, listen, I get it. You can't have me wearing this on the floor when everyone else is not wearing that uniform. I understand that. But like, you have people in like sweater vests that are signatures of the Palm. You have people in long sleeve shirts that are the Palm, and you didn't have a shirt for me to like put on. It's just crazy. I've never worked in a restaurant where like they haven't had that option for you, and then to treat me like that, you know. So I was like, okay, no worries. Okay, so what do you want me to do next? You know, like, what do you want me to do after this? Should I like when should I come back, or what do you want me to do? And he goes, well, I'm going out of town for a week, so we'll have the schedule ready to go when I get back, but you should keep looking for another job in the meantime. I mean, go ahead and call us, but yeah, just keep looking. And I said, don't even bother pretending like you're gonna call me. Clearly this is not for us, and I don't really appreciate the way you handled today. So thanks anyway, and I left. And then I left, and like, I get in my car, and at the time I had an account with US Bank, and they can go F themselves. So I call them, and they had like a 1-800 number where I actually could call someone at like 9 o'clock at night. And I'm talking to them, and I was like, where is the money that's supposed to be in my account? Well, I don't have any money. And they were just like, oh, it looks like I don't know what happened. Like, you're saying that you deposited a check. Well, we don't see the check. And I was like, I know I deposited a check. It was for this much money. And they're like, well, we're going to have to go back on our cameras and like check it and like the day you deposited. And I said, are you freaking kidding me? And I was like, I'm in a different state and I have no money for gas and I have no way to get back home. Like, you need to front me some money. You need to give me like $100 credit so that I can get back home, and then at least I can figure out how I'm going to make money from there. And they wouldn't even give me $100 credit. They lost my check and would not give me a credit. So I call a friend, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Is there any way you can lend me some money? This is what's happened. They said it's going to take a few days before they find it, so it'll be that long until I can give you your money back. And they were like, oh, sure, yeah, no problem. So they lend me the money so I can like get some gas. So I like put it in my account, and I got gas and I went back home. Well, the next morning I was like going through my car because I was like, I have to find that teller receipt. And I always save my teller receipts for like way too long. And this was one of those incidents where I was so glad that I did. So I find the receipt like in a folder in the side of my car console thing. And so like I grab it and I get it out, and I was like, yes. And I call the bank and I tell them like, this is the teller number, this is the transaction information, this is all this stuff. So like, how long is it going to take you guys to find it? And they're like, oh, we still probably need like 3 days. And I'm like, and you're not going to credit me any money? Like, you're just going to let me starve and not have money out here? And they're like, yeah, I mean, these mistakes just happen. I've never had an issue where a company messed up and they weren't willing to help you. Willing to help you. It was like the ultimate like, fuck you weekend. Like, I was not supposed to be there. I was not supposed to be there. The universe was like, this isn't for you. Like, it was such a weird weekend for that to happen. And like, how? How does a teller lose your check, and how do they not care? Like, what is it with these companies who have millions of dollars who mess up and then won't even do anything for you? They found the check a few days later and put the money back in my account, but there was like no credit for like, I'm sorry, we messed up. No, like, nothing. No, nothing. Which I thought was insane. So screw US Bank and screw the Palm restaurant. Who's eating at the Palm? I just want to know, like, is it really worth it? I will never spend any money there because of the way that that person treated me. I thought that was incredibly disrespectful. He could have used better words. He could have used better words, but he didn't. And that's super messed up. Like, your restaurant ain't all that in a bag of chips. At least I don't know. I've never ate there, but I've never heard of anyone, like, any of my friends that even live out there being like, oh, we should go to the Palm. It's so great. Like, that's not the restaurant they pick when I'm like, hey, take me somewhere fun out here. Where do you want to go? It's never the Palm. I didn't even know that place existed until I tried to apply there. So, screw you guys. And tell me in the comments below what restaurant has treated you like crap when you've like gone in there to eat, or maybe like after you've gotten there to eat. Like, tell me below like a little mini story, like what happened, why, where, what. You don't necessarily have to tell me where it was, but you can tell me the name, because some restaurants, they have multiple locations. But for sure, I want to know. I want to know who's been treated like crap and why, like what happened. And thanks for watching. Subscribe, follow me on socials so you can see when I post the next one. And I'll catch you on the next video. Bye!